Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Welcome here to CES, actually the first video of, I'm sure, many to come here at the Consumer Electronics Show. And Jordan, recently I went and filmed the Lightship RV, which a lot of our viewers really enjoyed and loved the concept. But the #1 comment we got on that video was, you guys need to check out Pebble, because they're also nearing series production with their RV towable built kind of specifically for being towed behind electric trucks.
Yep.
And so I figured, okay, cool, they're here at CES. Let's get a full tour. We're gonna meet with Stefan, who's their chief technology guy. He's gonna tell us everything we need to know about battery packs, tanks, all the RV stuff, all the EV stuff. And I'm super excited to go on this tour. I look tired, we've been walking around all day, filming, looking at stuff, but this is the first video to go up because this is what you guys have been asking for. It's Pebble at CES 2025.
So previously, Kyle, you filmed at Pebble, which is a different event. Now we're at CES filming a Pebble.
Right, that was Pebble Beach.
Right.
But okay, so let's get into sort of what this is, and I'll take everyone just on a quick, brief tour. I don't know much about it, to be honest, and then we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty and everything. But this is essentially a towable RV. So if you think Airstream or a Winnebago towable or whatever, it's just completely engineered to be towed behind electric cars. So what does that mean? It has a right around 50 kilowatt hour battery pack.
45, yeah.
Yep, 2 electric motors, LFP battery, by the way. 2 electric motors that actually will work and push so that you don't lose as much range while driving.
Yep.
It also supports vehicle charging, and you can discharge off of this.
And you can charge your home.
And you can charge your home, which is really cool. So it's like, a lot of times RVs just sit and take up space. This is now a giant power wall that you can plug into your house.
Right.
There's so much to get into and everything, but let me show you all inside. I hope they don't mind that I'm opening this up. Too bad. Anyway, we've got, dude, in here is super cool. Similar to Lightship vibe, but different. And I think almost different in a good way. Everything feels a little bit cozier, a little more softer touch, higher quality materials almost.
It's warm, light, just, yeah.
And I'll give my impressions on the differences between Lightship and Pebble now that I've had the chance to experience both at the end of this video once I learn a little bit more. But I think I'm able to at least speak to both units. The one really exciting thing about Pebble, Jordan, that I think gives me the most confidence, 2 things. The price. Fully spec, Founders, first edition, limited production, jump the line price, whatever it is, maxed out is $175.
Yep.
Lightship's $250.
Yeah.
So it's significantly less expensive. It feels a little bit smaller in here. I don't know dimensionally if it is, but it just feels a little bit smaller, but I think that's okay. You get a shower. By the way, this glass does do one of these things. How sick is that?
Amazing.
So, and it does it for the outside windows as well, I believe.
That's pretty cool tech, yeah.
Yep. So I think there's some really cool stuff here. The price is reasonable. They're like $109 base.
Which is impressive, yeah.
That's really impressive. And then it goes up to $175 fully loaded. A normal fully loaded one's like $150.
Yeah.
So you're into this thing for not extreme amount of money. The other thing that gives me a ton of confidence was I was like, hey, are you gonna let us tow it? Lightship wouldn't let us tow theirs. They were not ready yet.
And Pebble's like, yeah.
Pebble said, come by, come film it, come tow it. And I'm like, okay, as soon as we can, I'm going to China later on this week. Once we're back, this is on the list, Jordan. We're gonna bring one of the trucks out to California and we're gonna tow this thing.
Amazing.
So that gives me huge confidence in this actually being legit. They're also starting production kind of around now and then shipping in the spring. It's wild to have 2 very similar concepts between Pebble and Lightship launch at the same time so competitively, and each having little advantages and disadvantages in each.
I think we need to do a comparison in the woods for 4 days.
You don't need to sell me. If that's work, that's a great day at work. Anyway, you've got this bed situation back here, right? That folds down. And I think I can just lift it up to fold it up. Yes. And it just comes up here. And you've got a latch that it latches into right there. You now have a working space, a projector. Roof does come down a little tight back here. Mm-hmm. That is the one thing that, for aerodynamics, I guess they did that. But you've got storage. I think maybe I would want some sort of a bigger lip here, but either way, this is pretty cool. black tank was like 13 gallons or 14 gallons, seems small.
Yeah.
Gray tank was
37.
yeah, which seems okay, and then fresh water was 40 something. They say a week.
Yeah, fresh is 40.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like big enough tanks to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so when they say off-grid capability for up to 7 days, I'm wondering how they're calculating that, because 45 kilowatt hours is a decent amount of charge, but like just depends what you're doing.
But also solar, right?
1.1 kilowatt of solar, yes.
Which is better than nothing.
That does help,
That's like, 10 kilowatt hours a day.
Yep.
As long as, I mean, realistically, it's probably 8 kilowatt hours a day.
Right.
But you also have an electric truck that you could power from if you needed more, hopefully. So anyway, what we should do is we should talk to Stefan.
Yeah.
And I apologize for this video not being like as great or as, upbeat as we'd love to be. We've just been slammed.
And it's just kind of an initial impression, and we definitely want to do some like actual testing, but like just looking at the layout of everything, the kitchen here, I guess this can be taken outside.
Yes, your induction cooktop.
And there's a whole like awning you can extend. This storage is actually lockable. This is all lockable. You can sleep 4. That Murphy bed folds down like you showed with 2 people.
You're flying around there, brother.
This also fits, like folds down.
Yeah.
And you can fit 2 more people right here as a bed, so that's pretty cool.
All right, let's get to Stefan. Let's have him take us on a tour.
Yeah.
I've got so many questions, as you guys know. I want to know power stuff. I want to know HVAC. I think they have a heat pump. We're going to learn all about it. And it's Pebble on On Spec. Guys, this is Stefan. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much.
So what's your main responsibility other than engineering this thing? Is that every day at work?
Yeah, so I'm the CTO here. So essentially it means everything that has to do with hardware, software. Is
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you also have an app that goes along with it then?
That's right. So we have a iOS app, which essentially is running on an iPad. And it's your portal to the vehicle. So everything, all the information that you want to know, tank level, sensors, you want to know the level of the battery, everything that you want to control. You want to control propulsion, you want to do magic hitch, stabilizers, Instacam, everything goes to that portal.
So let's start up here. I have so many questions for you.
Yeah.
But you have, first of all, the weight of this thing. So how much does it weigh dry?
So it's 5,800.
Not bad.
And then you have 6,800 GVWR, everything.
Okay, that's quite a bit of payload capacity, actually.
Yeah.
So you could really put a lot of stuff in here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Tip to tail length?
25 feet.
25. Okay, very cool. So, you've got your typical hitch up here.
Yeah, so this is just a normal hitch.
Yep.
The latch is actually very, very useful. I really like this one.
Yeah.
Because when you are doing magic hitch, so you come in or the vehicle comes in and it latches to the hitch ball. This latches automatically. So
Right, as soon as it gets the pressure on there.
Exactly right.
And you mentioned magic hitch because this can actually be driven with remote control.
Yeah.
Like if you point right over here,
That's
it can
right.
spin around, it can move around, and it can drive itself up to the vehicle and hitch up automatically. But on top of that, it can't just drive itself. It also has to adjust the height, right?
Absolutely. So let's talk about magic hitch, right? As you know, one of the big pain points is hitch up to your tow vehicle. And there are all kind of technologies out there that make that thing simpler. What we said, how about we change the game here? And what this thing does, because it is really a software-defined vehicle. You see cameras all over.
Oh, really?
It
Okay,
has.
great. Yeah, I can see one right
That's
here.
right.
Yeah.
It has a powerful platform. It's running on an NVIDIA chip, really.
Oh, wow.
And all automotive-grade ECUs. So what it can do essentially is, looking at your vehicle, at your hitch ball, it goes there, it adjusts the height. Like we say, automatically goes over the hitch ball. When it finds it, it stops there. It goes all the way down and connects, and this is when the mechanical latch is going to
Really?
connect.
And then you have to manually then hook up your breakaway latches, lines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the 7-pin connector needs to go in, and then
Yep.
you have your safety chains that you go in as well. Yeah.
That is so well thought out. That's amazing.
And I tell you from experience, when I need to go out in the weekends, it's really quick, I don't have time, it's just so convenient. It's just really just hold 2 buttons on the iPad, thing goes there, connects, off you go.
I mean, I'm thinking even at charging stations. So I tow a lot with electric trucks, and my biggest issue is hitching and unhitching every time I have to charge the truck. Now that can be solved with pull-through stations, but there's very few of those. So
That's
it
right.
requires leave this thing somewhere. You can even charge this from a DC charger, right?
And that's the other thing. You can charge this level 1, level 2, but DC fast charge, like you said, but then how do you actually do this in reality?
Yeah.
You go to these chargers, but they are typically just, parking lots really. So you need to back it in.
Yes.
How do you back it in when you're hitched up?
Right.
You don't. So with this one, again, we tried to think about how we make that experience easier. We were thinking, let's just change the game.
Yeah.
And what we did is now you have 2 motors on this vehicle. And by the way, we can talk about those really, really cool design in-wheel motors.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about them.
And then what we have managed to do is transform that experience into something completely different. This is becoming a remote control car.
Yeah.
And it's actually super fun.
Because we filmed one of your competitors with also the ability to charge up, but there's no way to get the vehicle to the charger.
Exactly.
And here you can just drive it over, charge it, and then drive it back, which is the coolest freaking thing ever.
Yeah.
So I love that.
And actually, it's funny. At the office, this turned out to be also a competition. Who parks the Pebble into a parking lot fastest? Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a thing.
Okay, I love it. So up here, we've got all of the HVAC, right?
That's right. So actually, before getting there, this is actually pretty cool in itself. So you see, this is the camping mode, if you will. That's how you camp. But once you start towing, there's a problem here. Because you have a SUV or you have a truck, the air typically comes down, it falls here, and then comes and it hits the front.
Yes.
That's not good, right? This is about aerodynamics. So what happens is that this box actually raises. It goes all the way up here.
Oh, really? So this extends up?
It goes all the way up here, and what you have now, it's very, very slick, and the air will just jump over.
Also probably protects the glass from impact.
That's true, but the main advantage here is aerodynamics. So this one goes up, it will help us a lot with aerodynamics.
So rather than collapsing all the way down, you're just moving the air up and over, which honestly seems less complicated.
And we run a lot of CFD on this, and the numbers are really, really good.
Wow, cool. We'll be testing that soon. I can't wait to tow with this thing.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm so jealous because it's the first time you experience it, and this is something else. Yeah, and it's really, really cool. So I'm really happy for you.
So tell me what's in here.
Yeah. So, but under here is an HVAC system. It's an automotive grade HVAC. It was developed for this vehicle, and there are a few things. One is you get really good fresh air. So when this thing is cooling, you really feel the cold air.
So it's got very strong cold HVAC, which is super important, especially in hot weather.
Exactly right. But the other thing is it's silent.
Okay.
It's really, really silent. So as you know, when you have the HVAC units on the roof, those things. I have a Sprinter, and it screams and it's loud and buzzy and it's awful. And we were also measuring the output temperature, and we do a lot of tests, soaking this in hot weather and things like that, and comparing with others. And the air coming out of this, it's cold.
Love to hear that.
Same thing when it comes to cold weather. I was just up during the New Year's holidays at 6,000 feet.
Yep.
Pretty cold, super, super quiet again. Very good air that comes into the vehicle.
So it's a heat pump.
It's a heat pump. And exactly right.
Is it the same thermal loop that's shared between the battery and the cabin?
So, funny you ask. This technology that we have, it's fully integrated, and when it comes to software, this is all in-house. What allows us to do then is to, exactly like you say, take the energy and move it from one side to the other.
Yep. Right? So you have heat scavenging.
Exactly right. So we are looking at the battery. We have coolant loops that are going through the motors as well.
Yeah.
So all that, given the fact that this is really vertically integrated, we can really play with this, and it's all about efficiency in the end, right?
What it sounds like is you've built, this is an electric car and a trailer in one, essentially.
Correct.
And you've done more integration with EV components than even some large automakers have done.
So yes, because look, the fact that we are developing all in-house gives us the speed and gives us the flexibility, and really the goal here is efficiency. Why are we doing all this? We are doing all this so that you can be out there 7 days and boondock with this.
Yeah.
Right? Because we want you to be able to tow with an electric vehicle if you want, right? As you know, if you want to tow with an electric vehicle today, that use case is broken, right?
Yeah.
It's just like
it's kind of the worst use case for them.
You get like 100 miles, and it has nothing to do with the OEM.
Right.
Whatever vehicle you take, you may get 110, but it's around 100 miles.
Yep. And that's for Rivian, Lightning, Cybertruck. That's 100 miles with something this size.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
With this thing, you can go up to 250 miles.
Right.
And why can you do this? 2 reasons. One, aerodynamics. We talked about this, but the other one is the powertrain. It actually helps you.
Let's go around this side. I want to. First of all, loving everything so far. I'm super excited about this. You have single axle, very large tire.
Right. So one of the usual feedbacks and questions that we are getting, this is a 6,800 pounds, 6,000 plus pounds vehicle, and you put it on a single axle.
Yeah.
Like, how would that work? So the thing is the following: this is not your typical trailer axle, right? And as you understand, if it's, if this is 6,800 pounds, obviously the axle is engineered to easily carry that value, right? People are asking, what about the wheels? This is not your typical trailer wheel. Look at the size of this thing.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
And what is very, very cool here is that when we put in the motors, as you see, we have one axle. What this means, if you put 2 motors, right, you can apply differential torque. So positive torque on one axle, negative on the other one, then you can pivot. What does this mean? It gives you this amazing controllability. You can do a 360-degree turn. You can do magic edge. You need to line up with a ball, and it's like, fraction of an inch, right?
Yeah.
You can do that because you have this controllability. Now, the question is, what kind of motors are you using? Because, the typical solution, you would say, okay, let's put it on an axle and we put some gearboxes.
Yep.
Well, the problem there is play. The problem
you
is
get
efficiency.
drivetrain lash through
That's
everything.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
And you need, I guess, to control up there, everything has to be so precise.
Exactly right.
Back here.
So what did we do? These are in-wheel motors. These are in-wheel electric motors
built into the wheel
hubs.
itself.
Exactly right. This is the first time the RV industry sees anything like this. This is really cutting-edge technology.
And I guess from a RV perspective, you can do this because you're not so concerned about unsprung mass like a vehicle.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this. So. There has been discussions about this type of technology for a long time in automotive industry.
Yeah.
And one of the concern here is if you put it on the front axle, especially, is that when you are steering, you're going to feel it in your steering wheel, right? Mm-hmm. It is about the unsprung mass. This is the perfect application, right?
Yeah.
I don't care, right?
It's behind you. It doesn't matter.
Behind me. And also what this allows us is that you have a flat floor.
So because there's no axle between them.
You have the axle, but you don't have the motors, right?
Okay, makes sense. You have an axle, obviously, connecting it for suspension.
Right.
Do you use leaf spring, or what do you use for suspension?
So it's a special suspension that we have here. What really opens up from the design perspective here is that we can have the battery in the middle, and it's not split battery or 2 small size batteries. It's one big battery in the middle. Why is this good? Center of gravity. And again, from packaging perspective, we love that solution. It's super simple.
So tell me about the motors really quick. Are you using silicon carbide inverters or silicon inverters, or is it permanent magnet? Because I'm not so familiar with in-wheel motors as much as like a traditional car we would look at. Is it an induction motor? Is it permanent magnet? What type of inverter tech? How is this laid out?
Yeah, we have not disclosed what type of motors these are.
Okay.
Like I said, this is really cutting edge. They are for size. Yeah, absolutely. It's not. It's an automotive supplier. It's not a motor that we have developed ourselves, but it's something that is already in production. So these motors are extremely powerful. With these 2 motors, we can run very efficiently at high speeds as well. So when you are putting this type of motors in, you really are looking at 2 scenarios, at least for our application. One, when you are running at high speeds, towing, it has to be efficient.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
And it has to be able to maintain this torque for a long period of time without overheating, without those issues. No derates, exactly right. Not to mention, which I really, really love, when you're coming down the mountains.
Yeah.
Because what happens here, it's regen. Right, so you are braking, you are charging your battery, and really, it's such a different experience. When I was coming down 6,000 feet, from 6,000 feet, having this vehicle behind you and really doing constant regen, the entire, it's called tractor trailer, this system of tow vehicle and trailer. It's a whole different driving dynamics. It feels so much better.
It's a dream to be able to experience this. So we live in Colorado in the mountains. So we come out of I-70, 11,000 feet sometimes,
right.
And we've got to go down the back of the mountain. And even series production electric trucks. So I'm thinking Cybertruck, Rivian, not Lightning or a Silverado, but both of those vehicles derate without a trailer going downhill. At least they used to. They both got software updates and they're better. But when Rivian first came out, I could go like 1 mile and then it would give up. And it'd say inverter temperature, too hot, not possible. You know, they had an issue as well with some of their battery tuning. So you guys, it takes, what I'm trying to get the point across to the viewers is it takes a lot of tuning, a lot of expertise to be able to do constant regen from a thermal standpoint.
Exactly right. And that's what I was talking about earlier. The fact that we have this vertical integration, we have access to the software for the coolant system, right? We can monitor and we can run the cooling faster or slower depending on how we want here. Now, there is another point I want to make. This is about high speed, but there's another use case, as you have seen there, remote control, and that's really about low speed, high torque.
Yeah.
Right. So if you are going over bumps, if you are parking in your garage driveway, which all driveways are tilted, right?
Yeah.
Nothing is flat, right? So to go up there, if you are out camping, essentially boondocking, and in the middle of the nature, like in that video, nothing is flat. The surface is really, really uneven. So we need to think about, do we have enough torque here? And then it's not just this wheel. Someone said the other day that, oh, we actually reinvented the wheel. Well, we kind of did twice. So one is here with the in-wheel motors, but the other one is the wheel in the front. We put a lot of effort into the caster wheel to make sure that you have the maneuverability, right? If you want to do magic hitch, that thing needs to be very maneuverable. On the other hand, when you are doing remote control and you are driving forward, you want that wheel to be stable. So it's something called mechanical trail. So that design in itself took a lot of effort. This is our 5th generation wheel. And then you can see exactly this, that you can run in the desert environment with a lot of sand. It's not a problem. You have rocks, it just drives over.
You don't have a motor in the front though, right?
No more in the front.
It's just the design of how it centers itself.
Exactly right. And this is really the differential torque I mentioned earlier. And the fact that we have precise control here, positive, negative torque, and have that design in front really allows and unblocks that type of maneuvering.
And that auto comes out and down to hook up with the hitch. We mentioned auto leveling, but we didn't say how you have that hydraulic arm.
So we'll talk about auto leveling as well, but yes, that is electric jack in the front.
Yeah.
Again, this is fully integrated, so the software is able to deploy it when it needs to and how much it needs to, depending on all the vision inputs that we have around us. And really, it just kind of takes away this entire hassle of hitching things up. Not to mention just parking this thing into your driveway or into the campsite. It's a dream.
I can't wait to experience that. So, okay, we've got through the motors really quick, but I want to know about the battery.
Yeah.
So battery's LFP.
Yeah, it's
49.
It's 45 kilowatt hour.
Is that usable or is that gross capacity?
You should be able to use 45 kilowatt hour. We have a small margin, but it's very, very close to that. Yeah.
And of course, if it's frozen outside or whatever, you're going to get less usable capacity.
Right.
But quoted around 45 kilowatts,
45 kilowatt hour,
which is not an insignificant amount of energy.
It's pretty good. And look, you have 1.1 kilowatt hour on the roof, solar on the roof.
Yep.
And by the way, another thing that people often miss, and really, it's such an experience when you are driving on the road. You are driving, you are going to your campsite on a highway. Typically highways, you have sun. So this thing is charging while you are driving.
That's cool.
It's really, really cool.
From a BMS perspective though, LFP shows very little voltage change from full to dead, of course. How do you make sure that you don't, because it's always going to be a little bit charging, a little bit discharging. You're going to have all these little small inputs from solar, from usage. How do you make sure that you don't get BMS sway? Is it your own battery management, or is it from a supplier, or how does that work?
So the core BMS, it's not something that we have developed. You know, when you are a small startup like us, you really need to make sure that all the components that you are buying, or the other way around, all the components that you are developing should not be available off the shelf.
Totally.
Right? If it's available off the shelf,
just take
don't spend the money.
Yeah.
Don't spend the time, because you do not have the resources in order to have the time. You want to be very judicious on where you spend your resources. Now, we have a system level energy management, which is looking at everything. It's looking at the appliances. How much load do I have in here? It's looking at the solar. How much solar I'm getting in here? How much can I generate from the motors? Obviously, when you are plugged in here, we can look at this as well. And there are all kind of functions that we can build because we have this vertical integration, saying that, well, look, if I am driving and I am towing with a big truck, a diesel truck, you know, for a power stroke, you don't really care about that range.
No, you just set this thing to charge.
What you care about is when you arrive to your campsite, you are fully charged.
Absolutely.
So we are able to play with this. If I tow with the Cybertruck, well, maybe I am going to a campsite that has full hookup. I don't really care about having this full. What I care about is that I get to that 250 miles where my charging location is. Totally. And by the way, what's really cool is that here, so this is our charging port.
Yeah.
You can plug it into the charging point from your campsite. You know, 50 amps. Yeah. They have it full hookup. Typically, you have it, and then NEMA 1450. So you plug in the Cybertruck.
Charge and discharge at the same time.
Exactly right.
So how many amps is your onboard charger for charging? Is it 48 amps?
So we can give you up to 12 kilowatts.
But what about intake?
So intake, we can do with superchargers. We can do typically 45 minutes from 20 to 80%.
From 20 to 80, 45 minutes. So you're averaging like 40, 50 kilowatt charging speed.
Somewhere there. That's right.
Okay.
That's correct.
But for AC charging, it's 40 amp or 48 amp? For the AC, you know, if I plug into a 80 amp level 2 station, how many amps will this thing take?
Yeah, so you can do level 2 with this, and really it depends on what kind of stations you have or what kind of capacity you have.
Yeah.
We were doing 20 kilowatts on a level 2.
Great. So it's got a full 80 amp onboard charger then. That's cool. But then DC charging, even if it's 40 kilowatts, that's still fine.
I think it's fine because, look, the question here is, when you are coming with your tow vehicle and the Pebble, what you really want is both are finishing charging at the same time. Right?
Absolutely, yes.
And this thing has, like I said, 45 kilowatt hour battery, and that's sufficient because, again, this is not supposed to propel the entire weight of the vehicle.
Yeah, it's just supposed to reduce drag.
Exactly right, right? So that's the thing. A smaller battery here, we think we found the right balance.
Yeah.
Obviously, EV, a Cybertruck, a Rivian has a much larger battery pack, so it will take some more time. But the idea here is that both should be essentially finishing charging more at the same time.
Right. That's really cool. I love that you have a NEMA 1450 outlet on this.
Yep.
Why no NACS at launch? That was the #1 comment I saw.
Yeah. So look, everyone is looking for going over to NACS.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, the reality of things is that we are a small company.
Yeah.
And we are pretty low in the priority list. It's difficult to get access to all the equipment and components right now. And we just, wanted to launch. Obviously, we want to go over to NACS.
Yeah.
But this is easily available.
And there's adapters either way.
And there are adapters as well. But
I'm okay with it. You could buy a NACS inlet port, maybe if you were a bigger company ordering more components. Yeah. It's a fundamentally similar technology. They communicate on the same communication standard. It is just the physical layout of the port. And then there's, of course, an AC to DC line on neck. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm totally fine with this. But I know the commenters were going to say something if I didn't bring it up.
Yep.
All right. So in terms of powertrain, you've got 45 kilowatt hours of usable capacity. You've got, how much power do the motors make?
So these are pretty powerful motors. You can get, we have not disclosed those numbers.
Okay.
But you can have a really high torque coming from these motors.
Yeah, so low speed, high torque, this thing will boogie.
Because the point here is, right, we want to be able to get up on your garage driveway. That's a slope, right?
Yep.
Again, in these terrains where you can have, potholes or whatever, you want to be able to go over it. Speed bumps, right? You need to go over speed bumps in the campsite when you are moving over to your location, right? There may be speed bumps. You want to be able to get over those as well.
How does it work while driving from a traction control standpoint to make sure that you're not losing stability? I'm thinking, I just drove over here from Colorado. It was snowy the whole way up and over the mountain pass. And even I was slipping around having fun. But I'm just thinking, if I had something propelling me and I had opposite lock, it would almost make it worse. So how do you tie into the truck systems?
This is really the magic, right? And it is what I said earlier. We need to stop thinking about the trailer itself. You need to stop thinking about the tow vehicle itself. You need to think about the tractor trailer. And this is not new from a automotive perspective, right? We do this. We always think about anti-sway, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? But what's new here is that now you can control this here, where everything is happening. And again, the fact that you have these motors here, and again, your vehicle is not pulling that much. So the force that you are applying there is not that high. The entire system is getting much more stable. Now, that aside, obviously, there's opportunity here to help locally with lots of torque, and since there are two motors, completely independent, right? You can do torque in opposite direction, all kind of stuff like that.
But the tuning of this, how far away are you from having that sort of sorted? I imagine it gets over-the-air updates. You can improve this over time. But, from a towing perspective, are you close to having this kind of dialed in?
Yeah. So we are very, very close to production now. Like you mentioned, this is actually a software-defined vehicle as well. And what this means is you are getting over-the-air updates continuously, new features, so on and so forth. But we are very, very close now, especially when it comes to Easy Tow, to the version that is going in production.
Cool.
And it's something else.
Okay. Amazing. Very cool.
Is this considered a Class C or Class B?
No, this is a travel trailer. It's a towable. It's a towable. So I think. Sorry.
Are we getting kicked out of here or no?
Yeah. No, I don't.
Okay, we're good. Okay, let's continue around.
Oh, hi. Sorry, we are in the middle of something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the stabilizers and the levelers.
Tell me about the stabilizers and the levelers. So, okay, biggest thing, because I have a Sprinter van, as an example. It's a Class B van.
Yes.
I love the idea. I hate the execution. The old school RV industry where everything is a component, nothing talks to each other, the material quality is crap, drives me insane. I'm so used to reviewing, the latest and greatest cars, and I feel like my RV has 100-year-old thinking. This is the first time in the industry we're starting to see the actual adventure RV industry catch up to automotive and maybe even surpass it. In the case of the way you're describing this, is even more technically inclined than most cars. So how did this change happen? What was actually your background before we get into this? Like what made you want to do an RV?
So my background is a mix of automotive. So I started off as Volvo cars, and then I was at Tesla, and then I was at Apple for about 8 years. So it's a mix of tech and really automotive. And what really made me think about this is just, with my wife and the kids going out, we have a traditional trailer. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, with all due respect to everything that's out there today, but the experience is just disheartening.
Yeah.
it's decades behind its time.
Totally.
And in my opinion, what we are showing here should have happened at least a decade ago.
Should have just kept up with the cars.
Exactly right. So I think that's what we are trying to do here. And look, it's very important to understand, because many people are looking at this and saying, oh, wow, you are doing such cool things like, magic hitch, and you have cameras and so on. It's like, and indeed, it is cool. But we are not doing this because it's cool. We are doing this because we are solving problems.
Yeah.
Right? I really don't want to back up the trailer anymore. I have friends and really close friends saying, oh, I'm never going to buy a trailer. Why? Well, because I don't want people to sit there and watch me while I'm trying to back this thing up.
Totally, yeah.
And that's really, really sad, because you are missing out on making memories with your family, with your kids, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, no, let's change that, because it is doable. It's not impossible. So that's what is driving us. This is the North Star, and we are just talking about parking and hitching up, but this is true across the board. When I am in my other trailer, and during the night, obviously temperature goes down.
Yeah.
And then the furnace starts and just wakes you up.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like, why?
Yeah.
Right. So again, the same thing. It is really, really cool that we have an automotive HVAC heat pump,
yeah,
and it's outside. It's really cool. But the point here is that it's silent, and the point here is that you have good performance inside. Right. It really takes away that hassle. It takes away that pain. That's the point.
I love everything I'm seeing. It gets me excited. And there's like, we're so jaded in our world, driving the craziest stuff out there. And I'm like, it's very rare, Jordan, I think, that we get excited about something, but yeah, I'm pumped about this. I love the methodology. All right, so leveling.
Yeah, so
this
leveling
is a big deal.
Yeah, so there are a few interesting things. So those legs there, you may have recognized them. Those are typical legs that you can find from tier 1 suppliers in the RV industry. But what we have done is took those legs, and then there are 2 more hydraulic ones in the back, and we completely integrated them.
The hydraulic ones are to the left, I think.
Exactly, these ones right here.
There you go.
And the same way we have the stairs, right? So what we have done is we integrated all these.
Let's see the stairs.
Let's see the stairs. So what we've done is that we integrated all these, and we said, okay, what's hard with this experience? And what's hard with this experience? You get to the campsite, you were on the road for hours, kids are screaming, everyone is frustrated, and then I'm going out, in the best case, with the impact,
yep,
just to get things down.
Lock things down, yeah. I've been there, it's such a pain.
And then, after 15 minutes, leveling, honey, it is what it is, let's just go in, right?
Yeah.
So the point, again, take away that pain. And the way we did it, we created one function which we call InstaCamp. You just literally push one button, and in less than a minute, everything deploys. The stabilizers will deploy, and when the stabilizers are deploying with the front jack, which is also integrated in the system, right, we are leveling the pitch of the vehicle, right? So it has to be leveled like this.
Yep.
Then with the legs, the hydraulic legs, the levelers, we can also level the roll. So what you will have in the end is a platform which is super stable, because again, you have the jack, you have the 4 stabilizers, we have the 2 wheels, and the 2 levelers.
And you said 1 minute.
It's under 1 minute, everything goes down, and in the end the stair comes out, giving you the welcome.
Crazy. Crazy.
And again, it sounds crazy, but it should have been there a long time ago.
It's like, okay, yeah, we're finally like leapfrogging the industry, but the industry should have kept up.
Yeah.
I think we're getting kicked out. We're not the end. We have to finish tomorrow.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
So this bit, we'll be wearing different clothes tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I don't know if I'll be. I don't know how much I pack. It's a new day. I don't really know why we had to leave yesterday. Then we got kicked out. We literally got kicked out right after we stopped.
They turned off the lights. They turned off the lights. Yeah.
So we might be a little bit out of order, but I think we have a rough idea on where to pick up, which is like solar, energy management, also tank management, just like all of the consumables here. Maybe we can start up top and talk solar first of all, because I think that's you're able to bring this thing down the road. It can actually charge a little bit as you're driving, but also while you're parked, hopefully it can offset some of that usage or at least elongate some of the usage. So what do we have going on up there?
Yeah, so we have 1.1 kilowatt of solar on the roof, and it's very interesting because many people overlook this, that we are actually charging while you are driving. You are driving to be on highways, right? So you are exposed to sun, and you are replenishing the battery while you are driving. That's really, really cool. And I haven't seen anything on the road with 1.1 kilowatt of solar driving and charging at the same time.
Yeah, a lot of people, 1.1 kilowatt in EV world doesn't seem like a lot, but this requires a lot of panels to be able to get there and a lot of space. It, in general, could extend the time that you're out there, or if you're not using HVAC, could charge up.
That's right. So a few things here. So when I'm thinking about my traditional trailer, I have 100 watts. So 1.1 kilowatt is significant.
Yeah.
Then you're absolutely right. There are a couple of things here. When you are driving, you still have the fridge on because you have your food and the perishable there. So you want to offset that. And this does more than that. 1.1 kilowatt is more than sufficient. And, if you leave it there, it's just like, it's going to top off the battery slowly. So it will, charge slowly.
Yep.
Obviously, it's not sufficient for you to, take a road trip and then you say, oh, well, I don't need to charge because my solars will take care of me.
Right.
That's not true. But the impact of this is pretty significant.
Yeah, you've got the space up there. You may as well generate some energy with it.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, we made a change from the previous version. In the previous version, we had a skylight in the back.
Yeah.
We would see the bed, and then we had a skylight over there. But then we realized that actually it's much better if we put the skylight in the front, and you will see how nice the dinette area became. Mm-hmm. And then we put more solar.
Okay.
So that's why now we have 1.1 kilowatt, and I think the impact of that is pretty nice.
So before we get inside, I want to show storage and everything around on the outside in a minute, but tanks wise, so we showed the charging port yesterday.
That's right.
But the one thing we didn't talk about was the fresh water fill, the gray and the black situation, and how you're handling liquids.
That's right. So this is your port. This is your input port, and the only one.
So one import for everything.
Fresh water. And we have 3 tanks. We have a fresh tank. It's a 40-gallon, and it's actually in the back. It's right here. Okay. And then you have gray and black. Gray 37, black is 13. Mm-hmm. Arguably, one of the hassles with RVing is getting rid of the wastewater.
Yeah, totally.
And as I mentioned earlier, really the North Star of Pebble is to work on the hassles, take this away and make it easy. So we have worked quite a lot on that. We have a macerator pump here.
This is where it comes out.
That's right. Okay. We have a macerator pump even in the toilet.
Amazing.
So this allows us to do lots of interesting things to make the entire waste management much easier for you.
And you are not using a cassette or anything like this, right?
No.
It's just straight to an RV dump site.
That's right.
Drop it in.
That's right. Drop it in.
No mess, no carrying it inside.
Nope.
Which is the worst thing.
Yeah, and this is another thing. It was very important for us to make sure that you don't need to have, and I hate that when I have my tools and I have my
Feel like the slinky that comes out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I keep it in a box and I put it in the front storage. And it's like take space.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want everything to be integrated.
Totally.
So there's lots of work that went into that. We are pretty excited how that's going to work out.
Show us some storage around the outside. I know you have sort of a not branded as, but similar to like a Rivian gear tunnel.
Yeah.
But
So this is the pass-through storage, and we can go to the other side.
Sure.
I hope it's open.
It's outgoing.
No, it is not. We will open
it up. Okay.
So this is opening from, well, normally it's opening from your iPad, right? So everything is through your command center.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's an emergency. latch opening
If you,
as well.
yeah, legally, you probably need something
exactly
like this.
right. But everything is operated through your iPad, and this is a pass-through storage, just all the way to the other side.
And it's pretty juicy storage. Like you could put a bunch of stuff in there.
And this is also another change that we have made. In the original version, we had the door coming here. It was much easier to manufacture, but we want to open it up more. And as you can understand, this is a bit more difficult shape to manufacture. But I think it was all worth it. It's so much easier to get things in there.
What's up with this blue light?
Yeah. So when we were doing these testings, we realized that, well, I'm lowering the jack up and down. We should talk about the EPD as well. So we are lowering the jack up and down, and I don't necessarily want to do this from my iPad, because my one hand is
right. Yeah, you're doing mechanical stuff.
So
yeah.
what do? It would be so much easier if I just have an external button. Mm-hmm. And that's what this button is. Mm-hmm. And in production, this will look a bit different than that single button, but it will be the same idea.
So you can do a little raise and lower.
You can do a few things.
Okay.
Here, yeah. So that's the idea with these buttons. Make it, again, it's the same theme all the time. Make it easy for you. And we'll talk about this inside as well. I have quite a few examples how we initially thought about the problem, and again, the North Star is make it easy, and we came up with a solution which is very cool. But then we came up with another solution which is much simpler, and it makes things even more easy. Not as cool as the first one, but it's much simpler, and we chose that one instead.
Yeah, I think simplicity is key.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So that's the buttons. The HVAC we talked about is there.
Yeah. Okay,
So
you've got this canopy out here, by the way. Is this seems like it would be a bad idea from aero range?
You are spot on, because this was our biggest concern. It was a lot of back and forth with the team. Shall we have it external, or shall we have it fully integrated?
Yeah.
Right? Now, obviously, if you do this fully integrated, you will lose storage space. You will see on the inside, that's where we have the cabinets.
Okay.
Right? So what did we do? We just run CFD and see, okay, how much does it impact? Really, it wasn't that much.
Really?
It was not worth all the effort.
Not worth getting rid of the integration cost that would increase vehicle cost, increase complexity.
Loss of space on the inside.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're looking at this holistically, and this was another thing, right? When you are building a vehicle like this from really the grounds up, just about the tanks, right? Often what you see is that the gray tank is as big as your black tank.
Right.
And the black tank is never filled.
Right. No, of course.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So why are you doing this? Probably because you are buying two tanks the same size.
Of course, yeah, but you want to right size everything.
Exactly
now,
right.
I would say from the outside looking in, I wish the tanks were bigger, especially fresh tank. I like to take long showers. So this is, if I'm at a campsite, I can hook up fresh water. I'm good to go all day. But that's just one thing. I will hope maybe in the future it can go bigger, but also I haven't tried it yet. It's still bigger than the tank in my Sprinter. So I have like 24 gallons or something, and that lasts me a few days.
Yeah.
So I'm okay.
And it is always about this balance, right? We can make bigger tanks, but then the weight will increase.
Sure.
There's always a trade-off that we need to make, and we believe this is a good balance. Let's see how it works.
Yeah, let's see. Well, I can't wait to try it out. So, time to go inside finally?
Yeah, let's go inside.
Okay.
Just one more thing about the awning. As you see, the awning, this is a tier 1. It's a very good quality awning. But what I want to call out with this is all the components that we are getting, and you see on the Pebble, they are all integrated. So getting this awning out, it will be through your command center. It will be through your iPad.
So everything's done like an OE vehicle where you have an app, you have an iPad.
Exactly right.
Do you have it here?
Yes, we'll have it.
Okay.
The thing is, we disconnected it so people
don't hit.
punch buttons and whatnot. But we can take a look at the app even if it's disconnected. So it's not a problem.
Yeah. We've opened up the storage here, so we can actually show the viewers before we jump inside. pretty copious length there.
Yeah, and actually a few interesting things here. You have outlets, so we will go inside and we'll talk about the wandering cooktop.
Yeah, okay.
And this is where you plug it in.
For your outside cooking.
The outside cooking, that's right,
Okay.
that's right.
And the inverters on here to power, how much power can you export?
12 kilowatts.
Okay, but you can't do 12 kilowatts and run the other outlets.
That's true, so it's 12 kilowatts total.
Yeah.
And so for instance, if you are showering and cooking and baking, and you want to charge the Rivian or the Cybertruck, that's you will not get.
Yeah, but still 12 kilowatts is a ton of power.
it's a ton of power.
And you're going to be just fine.
Exactly.
You can always derate the truck a little bit and then keep plenty here.
Exactly right. So we are not going to give you. You can try and pull, but I'm just not going to give you that.
Right, you'll just cut the breaker.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's jump inside and see this thing now.
All right.
It's taken, I don't know, an hour into the video so far, which is our fault for nerding out. Sorry to the viewers.
No worries, no worries. No worries. Okay, so welcome to the Pebble Flow.
Thank you. I'm going to have a seat and experience this.
Exactly right. So just as you come in here, the first thing you see is a lot of light colors. Right?
Yes.
So this is very much a Scandinavian design language. Simplicity, light colors, and openness. Right?
It feels great in here. I mean, it's really long. It's 25 feet. And that's obviously from hitch to tail. But
exactly.
inside length is maybe 20.
Yes. And then the thing is, you want to give this impression of space.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about it in a minute when we go that way, but let's look at the dinette first. By the way, this is my favorite area. I really like the office area. We'll talk about it too, but this is the best.
This is where I would hang out all day. This is where the dog is going to stay.
When you know what, at the beginning when we were a much smaller team, this is where we had our software stand-ups.
Really?
It's right here.
Amazing.
So there are a few changes that we put in since last time we showed the vehicle. This is the skylight I talked about. This was in the rear first, but now we moved it here. We made the windows bigger. And now this space, when you are out in the nature, when you are in a campsite, it's just like, it's so nice to be in here.
It's airy. I mean, glass makes everything feel bigger, but it also adds heat.
It adds heat, that's true. So there was a lot of testing on HVAC. So there are the vents. Those will look slightly different in the production version.
Okay, so still some HVAC improvements from ducting and stuff.
That's exactly right. Ducting is very important.
Yeah.
So that will help you a lot because one of the tests that we have done is, we put the vehicle outside and let it soak. Let it soak in the sun and see like what's going to happen. And then you turn HVAC on.
And how quickly can you cool it?
And then how cold is the air?
Yeah.
Right? And then obviously how loud is it? So we went through all these and compared to what's on the market today, it's really something else.
Is this electrochromatic in terms of tinting?
Yeah. So if you look all the way here, so you essentially have 270 degrees view, right? It's a panoramic view, and it's all glass, and this is great when you are really when you are out in the nature, you want to take it in. Yeah, it's amazing, right? Problem is in the evening.
Yeah, you don't want to be the nature.
Yeah, you don't want to be someone that is the main attraction point of the campsite.
Exactly.
So then you do this.
Right? That is so cool.
So now all the windows are opaque.
How much power does it take to do this?
Actually, it's not that much. These PDLCs are not drawing that much power.
Okay.
And there's also another thing that was very, very important. When you have this type of application, it must fail opaque.
Yes, you cannot fail clear.
Right, which is completely opposite from automotive.
Absolutely.
Right, because there, if you have a windshield, whatever, you don't, or side windows, you don't want them to fail opaque.
No,
This is exactly the right application.
We're starting to see automotive do this with sunroofs, with the glass roofs.
That's right. The Rivian has one.
Yep, exactly. And it fails this way.
Yeah.
And it also means that when you're in a no power state, it's
That's
this
what
way.
it is.
Yeah, which
Exactly
is how
right.
you want it.
Exactly right. So, so this is the best of both worlds. You have the entire 270-degree view. When you are boondocking in the middle of a nice area, you can take in everything, but then you get your own privacy. Now, speaking of which, look at our bathroom. So this is a really, really nice bathroom. This is the macerating toilet I was talking
Yeah,
about.
can we open it up? Can we show everyone?
Yeah.
I'll have the viewers check. I've seen it, so.
Yeah. So really, really nice appliances. And again, we had initially this wall closed up. And what we had is, it was okay. It's not claustrophobic at all. Now, I'm gonna go in.
Yeah,
It's not claustrophobic at all. But our designer was thinking, can we do it better? Well, yeah, sure. Let's put glass in. Well, that's great. It really opens up the space.
Right.
Really awesome.
Which is important because when you're in these confined spaces, you just feel like this. But if you have some glass, it always makes it feel bigger.
Absolutely. And really, when you put the glass in it, it's a breath of fresh air. It's so good, right? But then the obvious.
Yeah. We
issue
don't want to
here-
see you naked, Stefan.
Exactly right. So then
Not-
I do
not in
thi-
this video.
Then I do this. Yeah, there you go. So essentially we have the same technology that we applied here. And again, as I mentioned earlier, these are
We almost couldn't hear you in there.
these are cool stuff. These are real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do that all day.
Yeah, and kids love it.
Yeah.
So this is also very, very cool, but again, it's the same thinking, right? We are bringing the technology because we want to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Now, let me show you something which I mentioned earlier, which is the complete opposite.
Okay.
So this is the dynamic area. Again, this is the table. So what we had in our initial product or initial version was an electric table. So it was moving up and down.
Yeah.
And it takes time. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
But then you have to wait for it.
You have to wait for it. And then we were trying this out. Like, why should we do that?
Simplicity is key.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So that's why we threw it out, and we have this solution, which is much simpler. And actually, what you can do is you can actually move around the table.
Oh, okay, nice.
So it's so much better. All right, so let's go and talk about the kitchen area here. This is really the chef's kitchen. No propane, which means everything is electric.
First of all, huge countertop.
Really-
For something in a vehicle like this, insane.
And really, you can prepare the salad here or there and working here in parallel. It's really, really great. Induction cooktop. Now, this one is fixed so that people don't take it out. But,
Yeah, sure.
But this comes out and you can cook with it outside. The window. This is another very important design component. We call it inside out, outside in. You are working here, but you want to be with your friends.
Yeah.
This makes so much difference.
You're going to have people hanging out, sitting down here, passing drinks, whatever.
It's great. It's really making lots of difference. And you know what? It's one of those things that happens over and over again. Of course, I'm subjective to some extent, but I'm trying to be objective. I'm going out with this, with my wife and family, and then we have the old one, and we don't want to go with that one anymore.
Sure,
yeah. It's just like it just doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah. This is totally well thought out.
Yeah. So this is also one of those things that you can
Wash the dog out the side.
whatever you want to do.
Okay, great.
These are really, really nice.
Yes,
Soft
look at
close.
that. And I love that they lock in.
Yes,
which is
exactly.
so important because the last thing you want is to get to your destination and all your stuff is everywhere.
It's all over. It's the same concept everywhere.
I love it.
This is one of the feedbacks that we got from our customers. So we have a.
That's pretty ample.
It's
I mean, the
quite a
whole
lot.
thing tapers in for aero, I imagine.
Exactly. So, and this is what we talked about. So look, if we had the awning,
You would have it
integrated-
would be here.
Yeah.
This
So-
is the way to do it.
Yeah. So.
Can you option it without the awning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
cool.
you can. I typically use awning when I go out.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would. This was a request as well from our customers, and we have a large community. On Discord, we have 3,000 plus folks in our.
Let's get more people in the Discord. If you're watching this video and you have Discord and you want to talk Pebble, get in the Pebble Discord.
And don't get mad at me if I'm not answering all the time. I'm really, really busy right now. We need to get this thing out to you guys, so sorry about that. Really, really good area to work. And then we end up in the office space. We are using projectors, so we don't have any TV. There was a lot of discussions internally. Should we have TV? Should we have any other way of
I also love that we're
entertainment.
walking front to back.
Yeah.
Two guys, and we're not tilting at all. I mean, we're locked in. It's so nice.
So, as I mentioned, so you have 4 stabilizers, you have the 2 levelers, you have the axle, which is 2 wheels, and then you have the front jack. This is stable.
Yeah, it feels completely stable.
So this is the.
Jordan, I'll have you go in front of me just so
Yeah.
Stefan can take the space there.
So this is the office space. 2 people can work here, or enjoy do whatever they need during the day, and then comes the evening. And this is really our Murphy bed, and this it's really just pull that strap, and then everything comes down for you. And now you have a very nice queen size bed.
It's the perfect drop.
Yeah, it's
how many dampers did you have to try to get that right?
Quite a few.
Yeah,
quite a few.
But you selected the right one.
Yeah, quite a few. So this is a really, really comfortable area. When we are sleeping here, it's the 2 of us. It's really, really nice. You can open that window as well.
Mm-hmm. I love that the rear window opens. That's so key. Will you have like a net that will come in?
It's a must.
Yeah.
Not only there, it has to be in the rear.
Yeah.
Obviously,
even for the door. Yeah.
Exactly. That helped a lot, and this is a change from the last time that we showed the vehicle. And it's really fresh air, especially if you're out in the nature.
If you're 2 people with 2 kids, you could easily fit in here without issue, and even a dog.
Not an issue.
It's it's. I'm not here to say this is the biggest thing on wheels. You can get a 45-foot bus, but just to tow behind your car and to go for a weekend or a short week, it's perfect.
Exactly right. And look, you don't even need a big car.
Right.
BMW X5, like that type of thing. SUVs, and even the Grand Cherokee can tow this, right? And then obviously the Rivians, R1S, and
all the electric trucks can do it, no problem.
Absolutely.
Question for you about some of the electronics and lighting in here.
Yes.
So everything's running off of 12 volt or 120?
Good question. So the fridge. The
this
microwave.
is the fridge?
Yeah, by the way, yeah.
Does
Please
it work?
open it up. Please open it up.
Okay, wow, nice. I love how this is the latch.
Yeah.
Smart design.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So, and it's a good size fridge, right? And it does actually function.
You have a freezer as well?
The freezer as well.
Wonderful. Yeah, cold.
Yeah. And the microwave there, it's actually also a convection oven, and it's a fryer, so it's a 4-in-1.
So it's an air fryer, convection, normal microwave,
and there's one more thing.
One more thing.
But there's one more thing.
Yeah. The door opens.
Exactly.
Number 4. Okay.
Oh, by the way, so we didn't even talk about storage.
So take a look in here. Massive coat hanger. Really nice. I think the compromise here is a little interesting because it's a tight squeeze to get around the table and beyond this, but you also need storage. So I can fit through here, and I'm not small, so I think that's okay. Then you also have even more storage down here, and you can see it's perfectly matched to kind of get as much opening space before you hit the table. But keep in mind the table does spin out of the way. And we even have storage down here.
All of those are running 110. So we have an inverter here, which is giving you household power.
And is that running off the high voltage battery, or do you have a low voltage battery that is stepping it up?
No. This is running from the high voltage battery.
Nice. That's way more efficient.
Absolutely. And actually, it's without giving away too much, it's the same inverter we are using to export power.
Ah, okay. So you got yourself a real juicy inverter to do 120 single split and 240.
Exactly right. And then we integrate this with everything. We are looking at the 12 volts load. We are looking at HVAC, of course. We are looking at solar, and that builds really our power management system, right?
Yeah.
And because we do this in-house. We can integrate all this. We can do things like, well, you want to precondition your cabin when you arrive.
Yeah.
Things like this, right?
You can say, I'm going to get to my campsite at this because the navigation says it. Soon, I hope you can get some integration where it will automatically all work together.
Yeah,
but that requires OE collaboration.
Well, there are a couple of things here, and we'll talk about the iPad as well in a minute. But the important part for the Pebble is this is truly a software-defined vehicle, right? What this means is, number one, it's very easy to change things. So, for instance, you mentioned the lighting. The lighting configuration that we had initially was very, very different than what you have now. What we started off with is zoning that were really localized. So you had the dinette, then you had the kitchen area, then you had the bedroom. Well, it kind of was okay, but something was missing. And then we said, let's mix it up a bit. Let's leave the spotlights to be zoned, but let's break out the stripes, the LED stripes, as ambient lighting.
Yeah.
And everything fell into place.
Yeah, it just looks so right. And I'm sure it's dimmable. Do you have to have voltage boosters to handle voltage drop across the whole thing?
Actually, now that we have controllers that are separate for each of these. So without going into too much detail there.
We're sharing too many secrets.
So what I wanted to say with this is it was so simple because we just changed the software and now suddenly the buttons meant something else.
That's cool.
Right? So this is one of those moments where, it validates your maybe preconceptions, if you will. Like, well, we knew from the beginning, we need to make this a software-defined vehicle. It will help us on the long run. Yeah. And it does every day.
I love it.
And then, so this is one thing. And then the other one is OTA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, many of the ECUs here are essentially automotive grade ECUs. Our domain controller, we call it our main ECU. It's really coming from NVIDIA. It's an NVIDIA Drive AGX platform with the Orin chip on it.
Yep.
Which essentially has 256 stops. So it has a GPU on it. It has ARM processors on it.
Which is more than some cars have. Let's just be honest.
That's exactly right. But I think what I want to say with this is that the power that we have, the computational power that we have here, the ability to update the software over the air really opens up for us and our customers to push a lot of new stuff.
Because you're not even close to what that chip can do now.
100%. 100%.
That's a Jordan check mark right there. He's behind the camera. He always complains about cars launching that are reaching the maximum of their chips, and then it limits their future benefit.
And it sounds like a cliche, but the Pebble flow will get smarter and smarter. So I think that is very, very important for the product. And it also opens up a whole different realm when it comes to diagnostics. Right? Because another thing that we really want to make sure is good is the experience that you have when you have the vehicle. If something goes wrong, right? These vehicles are all connected.
What's the warranty on them?
It's actually on the website now. We have a tiered warranty. You have 8 years, 5 years, and 3 years. So it's different for the motors, the battery, and the entire vehicle.
Sure. But still, if 3 years is the minimum, that's better than the 1 year that the most of the RV industry gives you.
So that was exactly the point, that what you are getting from Pebble, it's significantly better than anything you have out there. And why can we do this? We can do this because we are using the right type of components, the right type of engineering, right?
Yeah.
But coming back to diagnostics, one of the big advantages here is that you are able to predict if your customer's battery is going to die, or if your customers are going to have issues with some of the pumps. This is something that you are able to predict, and this is all about the experience. You need to have a peace of mind. You don't want to care about all this. You want to care about making memories with your friends, family. That's what's important, and that's the mission.
I love it. I think it's so cool. I love can we see the iPad?
Yes, let's look at the iPad.
I'm going to sit at the table.
So, now the iPad, so this is where it goes, and this is how it comes out.
Love it. Is that strong enough to hold it while going down the road?
We are doing a lot of testing until now. Seems like it sticks.
Just wait till you lend it to us.
All right,
It's gonna fall out.
Okay, okay. All right, so this is the main view. And you have everything here, from interior lights to cabin temperature to windows. This is the window privacy. Now,
This window also has the privacy function, the one that flips up?
all of them.
Wow.
Now, this is actually pretty interesting because we wanted to make it, how you say, joke proof. And prank proof. So there is no way, there's no actual pathway for you to access the the film on
for the bathroom. Nice.
The only way you can do that is from the switches. There's no pathway for you to access that
Wow,
any
cool.
other way.
So no one can hack that.
Yeah, exactly. Instacamp is what we talked about earlier. One of the things that are important here is that not everyone can just, come and push buttons. Now, this is again not connected to the vehicle, so let's see if we can just get out of it. But what you will get is Touch ID.
Okay,
right?
very cool.
So we go down here and we have a few modes. This is the motion view, and really, this is your remote
360
control,
view.
remote control, and your magic hedge. So remote control will be just pushing this button, and you have a Deadman script. Essentially, we want to have both of your hands on this device while you're controlling it. So you need to hold it here, and then you have forward, reverse, pivot left, pivot right. And then magic hedge is just really one button. So again, you're holding this, and then you're holding magic hedge.
And then it'll find it
and it'll find it, put it there above the hitch ball and connect, lower and connect.
Cool.
Another one is the energy view. This is not going to show anything right now. This is what we showed on our videos as well. So you have the motors, you have the solar, you have the loads. This is all the loads that we have. And then this is the input port. This is the charging, right? And then the other tanks, we are not going to show the tanks today. Those are really cool though. But what you can see
So we'll show them tomorrow.
What you can see here, however, is the status of the vehicle, right? So this would be the SLC of the high voltage battery. This is the fresh tank, gray and black tank, and that you have on all of the views. And then this is the detailed view, because you want to be able to control all the actuators, all the lighting by themselves as well, because you have preferences, and you never know what kind of situations you are in. You need to have controls. So here, the same way you see the zones, what I mentioned, the dinette, kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom, but these are only the LED, spotlights, and then you have the ambient light, which is the stripes, and really when you are out camping, I don't use anything else but ambience.
Well, yeah, it just keeps the perfect ambiance.
Exactly right. If I want to cook or something, yeah, you turn that on, but otherwise it's just really the ambient lights.
Yeah.
And then fan is here, doors, this is a tunnel left, right that we just saw, the windows. Actually, one thing that is really interesting here is that right now I showed you from the button that you make all the windows opaque, but we can zone it as well.
I love that. That is so cool.
So you can essentially say, oh, I just want this one open, and then all the other one.
Yeah, because that way no one can see it, but you get the cool sky view.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Stairs, awning, all that kind of stuff, and the stabilizers and the levelers.
The parking brake is using the physical brakes?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So one other thing, as you very well know, is you go to a campsite and then you need to mess around with the wheel chocks.
Yeah.
And that I found really, really annoying.
Absolutely.
Not to mention how many times I run over.
And then
it's like, oh man. So we don't do that anymore. With the Pebble Flow, you don't need wheel chocks. Why? Because we have EPB, electric parking brake. Yeah. So yes, it is using the friction brakes, and this vehicle has actually drum brakes, and we have an actuator that is pulling them, and it's activating, and you don't you can forget wheel chocks.
Amazing.
The other thing, speaking of braking, essentially this vehicle has triple redundant brakes, right?
We've got regen, drum brakes. What's the third?
And the friction brakes themselves, right? The hydraulically actuated is the same pad, right?
Yeah,
it's the same
as
pad.
the EPB.
Exactly, but the actuation is coming from a whole different system.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
So that's really, really cool, and I think there's nothing. I know there's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing close to this.
It's amazing. I love it. The whole integration from my side is, okay, so like we've seen some of your competitors, we've seen what the automotive industry is doing, both new and old automotive, and this is just so well thought out that it's unbelievable. I think you are one of the main reasons I have gone from being interested in Pebble, being like, oh, that's cool, to being like, holy crap, this is legit. And I hope this video, like us nerding out and you being so passionate about this, like really shows, I mean, it's opened my eyes to all of this. And so I think you are like the key asset here to Pebble. It's amazing to get this tour from you and how open you are as well about how everything works. I know we can't talk about everything, but I know for sure this has been educational for the viewers.
Yeah, and it's really about the team, that you have a lot of talented people and really hardworking people really believing in the mission, and extremely long hours, extremely long weeks, but this is what comes out.
And I think the price point's right. 109 base. If you want the motors, 130-ish, right?
135 with the motors, and that
Get
means,
the motors.
So I think the motors make a whole lot of difference, and not just about parking, but even when you're towing. And it's really difficult to put in words. So I'm excited for you to try it out.
What's the battery if you don't get the motors?
So the battery is 109. So just with the battery.
Yeah, but you get the same battery?
Yeah, it's the same battery.
Oh, wow.
It's the same battery.
Still, that's a huge battery then.
Yeah, it's a 45 kilowatt hour LFP, so you can still use this as a home energy backup solution.
Which is amazing. There. Are you going to do AC bidirectional or DC bidirectional?
It's AC. So we are exporting AC.
Yeah.
Right? And then the charging we can do AC charging level DC. 1, level 2, but DC fast charge as well. Right?
Yeah, but I think it makes sense to do AC bidirectional like you're doing. Just so much less home equipment stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way it doesn't make sense is if you already have solar and the inverters installed. This is the only downside. But I think the industry should go to AC bidirectional.
Yeah, so we can do a lot of things, and we also need to think about integration with your home. And yes, if you have the solars and you have power walls already, it might not get that perfect integration, but I think it would still work. And, and it's all about, we need to think about the right balance here, right? Because we can increase the complexity of the product to infinity, and then we never manage to give our customers
but also most homes don't have solar, most homes don't have Powerwall.
That's right.
And so for example, I just put an AC bidirectional in my house for the Cybertruck, and it cost me nothing almost. I mean, Tesla paid for the install as part of my truck, but it was a couple $1,000s versus a Pro Power backup system from Ford or GM's thing is like $10,000, $15,000. And I think that's the way to do it, is AC bidirectional.
Yeah. So that's where we are right now.
This has been incredibly amazing. There's so much more to do. I can't wait till we can come and tow it in a few weeks. Sounds like maybe a month and a half we'll be out there, and we're going to do some stuff. Had no idea how far along you guys were, and how well thought out, and how vertically integrated, and not just vertically integrated, but like really well integrated. I mean, with over-the-air updates, building in headroom, everything feels really high quality as well. I think the only thing I wish this table was a bit more solid. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I want, really.
Actually, you are pointing out something down there. The way we are mounting this has been actually improved.
Okay,
so this
cool.
is
it's already fixed then.
Yeah.
So it's great. So I can't thank you enough for the tour and taking the time. It was really wonderful.
Thank you so much.
It's not going to be the last time we have you on camera.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
And a huge congratulations to you and the team.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for watching. We'll see you on another one again soon. Bye-bye. Stefan pointed out we missed one storage area. It's for the dogs. So you can put the dog food there.
That's right.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. You wouldn't want to put Alyssa's dog food there though. Yeah, it's just raw meat flying all over the place. Wouldn't be great.